Hey, metal-lads, this is Schmier from Destruction, and you're listening to Sonic Perspectives.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is Jonathan here with Sonic Perspectives, and I am with the one that all false metal should fear, the almighty Schmier. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're very busy right now, just coming back from Greece. We had some amazing sold-out shows, and now we're promoting the album. And in the same time, we just announced the movie that is also coming out in the cinemas in March for first screening, and then it's gonna hopefully drop around the world for some more cinema screenings, and a lot of exciting stuff happening right now.
Oh
So
yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely going to have to catch that once it hits the television. So we got a new album coming out, and I actually had the privilege, just like with Diabolical before, to get a sampling of it before getting to speak to you. And I got to say, you really outdid yourselves this time. It sounds like you took the napalm from Napalm Records, threw it into one of those tornadoes that you guys have on your album cover, put it in a freight train, and ran it through a nitroglycerin plant. It is absolutely explosive.
thank you very much. I mean, the band played more than 200 shows since Diabolical, and we try to bring this energy from the live shows into the studio. So that's why we've been recording in between the shows, the demos, and the album. And then we went back on tour, to keep the momentum going.
Absolutely. And just like with Diabolical, I think that you had decided to take a more organic approach in the studio, like no drum editing and post-production, keeping everything raw. That's what you did last time. Was that the same here with the production, or did you go a different route?
Yeah, we've been almost the way we recorded the basics. But then in the final production, Martin, our guitarist, he overtook with me the production, and he mixed the album also. And we said, the holy aim for this album is to be more raw, more rough, more edgy. And I think we achieved it. The album has a little bit more drive. It sounds a bit more brutal, and yeah, like a little bit closer to the live sound of the band, as you mentioned. So far we have very good response, and yeah, hopefully the fans will like it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to give away too many spoilers because the album's not out yet, but one of the things I noticed right off the bat was the opening of the album, Birth of Malice, the little prelude. I got a little bit of nostalgia for the Antichrist, which was actually the first Destruction album I bought when it was released. And was there any looking back into maybe some of the earlier periods of Destruction that influenced the songwriting or the structure of the album?
I mean, at the end, it's what influences me is the roots of the '80s, and sometimes, of course, when I write, I'm like, okay, this has some similarities, or this is a little bit like this and that. But then, at the end, when you put it into context, into the riff, into the final song, it needs the trademarks. That's what I recognized over the years of the songwriting. Don't question your songwriting, just do it, and if it feels right, it's usually great. And this time also there was some stuff that I felt it has a lot of, it builds the bridge to the old Destruction. And yeah, that's, I guess that's the trademark you need to write a good album for Destruction, even though we have a lot of like new elements on the album, a lot of crazy solos and double guitars and twin guitars and guitar races, and it's a lot of fucking guitars on this album. And also we have some more tempy changes. Let's say it's there's more variation in the whole album. I try to see how the songs would work live best, and that's how I wrote the songs at the end. That's what I learned from the last album, that some songs didn't work very good in the rehearsal room at the end, and when we tried to play them live, we kicked them out again. So this time I want to make sure every song is a great live cracker, and I think this makes the album a little bit more approachable, a little bit more catchy, even though it's still very brutal.
Yeah, definitely. And as a matter of fact, I just wanted to expand on that a little further. This is only the second album, I think, with a two guitar arrangement for Destruction, correct?
Actually, the
Oh,
third now, yeah, the third, yeah. But
okay.
it's the second album with this lineup. Well, after Mike left, it's the second album, but it's the third one with three guitars. And if you go back to the '80s, there's some more. But yeah,
Okay.
since the reunion, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you definitely took full advantage of having the two guitar format in this one. One song in particular that felt really new and fresh was actually Evil Never Sleeps, especially the chorus. I almost felt like there was a little bit of a rage vibe there, like you maybe brought in a slight power metal element with how melodic that chorus was.
Yeah, it's you know, when I looked at the songwriting for after some songs, I was like, okay, we need one song that is groovy and a little bit more melodic. And when I wrote it, I played it to my girlfriend, and she sang along actually, and I was like, okay. And she's not into thrash really. She's like a rock chick, but she likes metal and hard rock, but she's not a thrasher girl, you know. And she sang along, and I'm like, okay, if she likes it, then it must be catchy. And then I actually invited her to sing along in the studio. So what you hear there in the chorus and the pre-chorus is actually her in the background singing along with the song, and that was a special little extra for this one.
Yeah, I did notice that there were some backing vocal tracks, and I was actually going to ask you about that. Did she also have a, little bit of an influence on doing the Accept cover, or was that completely separate?
No, that was actually my thing that burned under my nails since years. But you got to have the right lineup, the right guys in the band that want to do it. And when I came with a song, everybody loved the idea. And when we tried it in the studio, it sounded killer. And yeah, I think it's maybe one of the best covers we ever did. I think this one, and maybe Whiplash from Metallica are two of my favorite Destruction covers. And yeah, fan reactions were great. And you know, this song is so important for the German metal scene. It was the first speed metal song ever. The riff, the solos, the chorus, the vocals are amazing. And he built a bridge between metal and punk rock back in the day also. And also the intro is like a legendary moment when they make fun about the German country music, you know. So making fun about the conservative people back in the '80s, it was a scandal. It was a bloody fucking scandal, and we loved it as kids. It was a little revolution in our kindergarten, you know. It was kind of the first time a metal band did this, like provoke the conservative people, you know, and we loved it. And so this song is one of the most important songs if it comes to German history and German metal songs to me.
Yeah, and that's what metal is basically all about. And I would say, I did get the chance to interview Udo a couple years ago, and I think he'd be proud of the vocal performance you put into this. I think you're the only person in the Teutonic thrash scene that can approximate his vocal style.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, I try to stick to the original and make it Destruction style, you know. So, but it's such a great song. I mean, you cannot do it any better. We just to try to make it our own and pay tribute to it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, another thing I wanted to ask you about, it's been over 40 years that Destruction has been in business, but this is the first album to have the song with your name, the band's name in the title. How did that come about?
Yeah, yeah. You rather write that in your first album, right? Or you don't write it, and now we wrote it after 40 years. I think the time had to be right for it, you know. At the beginning, we missed it, we didn't do it, and then in the last years, I was like, okay, this sounds too much. Like maybe it's not the right timing. But now, when we wrote this album, I felt that the moment was there, and when I wrote this song with the idea to call it Destruction, and I played it for the guys, and everybody was into it right away. Said, "Hey, let's try." And then when we had the final demos done, I put the lyrics, and it just fit like a glove, you know. And I see the song in the same tradition as like "Curse the Gods," you know. This is the ultimate opening song for a Destruction show.
Yeah, definitely. Another one that I wanted to hit upon because we were talking about riling up the conservatives earlier. One of the other singles, "No Kings, No Masters." Can you just give me like a just a little brief summation of the lyrical content of that one?
Yeah, you know, as a German, I never understood how you obey people like like kings, And we had Adolf Hitler ruining the country, and the aftermath is still there, like 60 years later, And I just I don't understand why people get so obsessed with somebody that was a liar, and he was a crazy guy, and now history is repeating. We have those crazy guys everywhere, and people are idolizing freaks, and I never understood this, and for me, humanity belongs together. And what those people do is they divide to conquer. They conquer the small people to fight each other so they can rule us, And this is what basically No Kings, No Masters is all about.
I got you. Yeah, I think that's the human experience across the board. We've got many decent people that are just followers by nature, but we need a better class of leader. That's basically it.
Yeah, I mean, I go for Star Trek, I'm the Star Trek fan. I think we should put the elite people, the smart people in office, the people that have brains, that have studied, that are scientists,
Mhm.
people, that this would be my kind of politicians, but they don't exist.
Yeah. So there isn't any potential future sci-fi themed destruction album coming up at some point, is there?
No, 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 but I like to write about stuff that bothers me and stuff that surrounds me when I travel a lot. I have the privilege to go see the world. We just played in some Muslim countries also again, and I like to talk to people. I like to hear opinions. I like to watch the news in different countries, and then it's quite funny to when you come back home. You always bring back some ideas, and then you start writing. And I think that's the big gift about being an artist is to travel the world and see different cultures and yeah, and then you start to understand why some people are the way they are, that they kind of isolated in their little world, and they believe just their country is the greatest country in the world. And of course, it's not true, because a lot of people have amazing countries. And if I would say what's the best country in the world, I couldn't name one. There's a lot of great countries in the world.
hmm Yeah, I had the privilege to actually visit Doha a few years ago, so I'm right there with you. It's a
Oh yeah,
very,
yeah. We
very
just
interesting part of the world.
we just played in Dubai
Ah,
also, and it was like Disney World and Hollywood plus 1,000. It was like everything was over the top. So it was like, wow, this is crazy. And yeah, so I like this privilege to see that the grass can be greener on the other side, but also I love my country, but I would never say I'm I'm 100% German. I consider myself being a world citizen. I love the world because it's our place to live, and we should take better care. That's what a lot of the stuff I write about, because yeah, our greed is basically killing it.
oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, unfortunately, we're running out of time here, so I just want a real quick pivot since we're in the subject of traveling the world. What are there any touring plans following the release of the new album? And is there anything else that you want to shout out to the fans before we wrap up?
Yeah, we actually had just the bad news that our immigration lawyer for the American shows
Uh,
just told us, because of the new president and the new government,
uh,
uh, that our visas are not possible. That they said we need more time, and it's going to cost us double of the money that we have approached. So we have to basically pull out all the American shows in the first part of the year that we wanted to do. So yeah, because nobody knows what's going to happen now, because Trump fires everybody,
mhm.
and then he wants to, be more strict about visas and everything. So our immigration lawyer, who is American, said we need more time for the visas, and now we're 4 months ahead of the tour. It's not possible, I guess. So I guess we're not going to come to the States in the first part of this year, which was actually planned.
Uh,
But we were hopeful that Mr. Trump will still let artists into the country sooner or later. And we're also hopeful that the visa costs will not increase again, because
uh,
for small metal bands, it's not worth it to come to America anymore then because we don't make money. We come to play for the fans, and if the visas are costing thousands and thousands, we have to stay home. So it kind of sucks. So I'm hopeful that we can make it to the States because we always love to tour there. But at the moment, it's not looking so positive for the first part of the year, and hopefully it can come a little bit later.
But thank you very much for joining me, everybody. The new album comes out March 7th. It is titled Birth of Malice. Check it out. This has been Jonathan with Sonic Perspectives. Thank you.
Jonathan, thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too.